I think it started about 5 years ago.
Maybe if you think about that kind of a situation, you would never even think to know that anything like that would be possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, getting bit by a tick that caused that kind of allergy. So you would have to, someone noticed, hey, all these people are getting sick, and what do they have in common, right? Yeah, a tick bite. Yeah, there's ticks, you know, they can cause other things as well. But an allergy to eggs is really kind of off the collar right there. Okay, anybody else want to share what they said in theirs? There was also another one, oh, Alex, yeah, about boiling the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So there was a mini power plant. There's this little tiny, almost the size of a property for a house, and they have it's a redirects all the power that comes from Utah to parts of Wyoming, Montana, and southern Idaho. And so I think it was last year during the summer there was last year, year before, there was a power outage in like all of Rexburg, Idaho Falls, stretched a huge area, and everyone did not have power for 5 or 6 hours. And then it came back on, but none of the water treatment plants could work without electricity. And so all of the water had just kept going through the system, untreated and unpurified. And so they asked everybody to boil all water that wasn't bottled before it was consumed or used in food, because it could have had bacteria or stuff in it. And so I didn't hear about any cases of people not treating their water and getting sick. They were very quick to put it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all of the news.
So do you know where that directive came from?
I don't.
Well, it probably came from the public health department. Those guys at public health department, they do so much we don't even know. And they are in charge of the huge communities at large for keeping everyone healthy and for noticing things like that, like you just said. So I want to take you back, but thank you so much for sharing that, because it was, I mean, you know, if you think things that happened a long time ago, now we've got public health department to look after us. Now we have different things in, you know, regulated by state, by government. We should be fine, right? Should be. So it was just interesting, some of those that I read. So I'm going to take you back to the 14th century. In the beginning of the worst of times, we arrived in Europe by sea in October 1347, when 12 Viennese trading ships docked at the Sicilian port after a long journey. The people who gathered on the dock to greet the ships were met with a horrifying surprise. Most of the sailors on the ships were dead, and some that were left were gravely ill. They were overcome with fever, unable to keep food down, delirious from pain. Strangest of all, they were covered in mysterious black oils that oozed blood and pus. The Sicilian authorities hastily ordered a fleet of death ships out to sea, but it was too late. Over the next 5 years, the mysterious disease would kill almost a third of Europe's population. So basically, I put this up here just to kind of let you know, and these were trading ships, so they had been done for us. And so they came in here, and then, you know, these years, you know, just 1 year later, it spread this far, and then 49 there. And so, like I said, in the next 5 years. And so, can anyone guess what this disease was? Raise your hand, you probably know. Yeah, Black Plague. Yeah, they call it the Black Plague because of the darkness of those sores that were on them. So it's also known as the bubonic plague. Do you know why?
Bunnies.
Bunions?
Bunnies, the bubonic
Oh,
transfer
here,
through
let me,
bunnies.
it's, It's bubonic plague. So do you know why it was called that?
No.
Okay. So, don't look it up right now. I'm cheating. Whoever can tell me this, you can come take some candy out of my jar. So anyway, but we're moving on. So it's just interesting, things get named. All right. Let's see. So, I want everybody, let's see, hold on. Okay, so we're talking about the bubonic or the black or the plague. When I was in the 8th grade, I think it was, I read the book, The Plague, and it was like this thick. And I was like, oh, you're just getting into a book and it's really fiction and all these people are dying and it's like, it was really interesting to me because I wanted to be a nurse and I wanted to know what's going on. But all these years later, I still remember some of the things that were in that book. It was so interesting. Not interesting, of course, for the people that lived back then because, you know what, they didn't have a public health department. They didn't know anything that was happening. They didn't know what it was. They thought even touching someone's clothes would, make them contaminated, which many times it did. They thought that if anyone, looked upon someone who was dying and got any kind of fluid or whatever flipped on them, that they would die. And they probably did because of that. There was all kind of things, suppositions out there. So it's just really interesting what can happen. But nowadays, can anything happen like that nowadays? We have the public health department, we have things that overseas. We have the CDC, we have the WHO, World Health Organization. We have a lot of these gatekeepers for us in place. So I would say that the situation Christine was talking about in terms of the tick bite, that just doesn't happen, does it? Well, on your computers, look, just kind of type in Google, new bacteria found in the Dead Sea. Okay? New bacteria found in the Dead Sea. Or if you want to go the other direction, bacteria on other planets. Okay, what did you find? Anybody? Okay, go ahead. Your face is like, oh.
Saying that they found new life that is coming from springs, freshwater springs that are in the Dead Sea, and if somebody drinks that water, it can cause the larynx to inflate, resulting in immediate choking or suffocation.
Right. Now, can things like that happen nowadays? We are so industrialized, we are so progressive, but she just told us that new things are being found as we speak.
I was just thinking also about the importance of education because, like in other countries, they still are having a hard time getting the public to take iodine in their salt. Like just simple things that, like not knowing is causing their health to suffer.
Yeah. I think many times we are so blessed and so fortunate to live in this country. God really does bless America. But there are situations, like you just said, in other countries, developed or even undeveloped or in the process, that are experiencing, just terrible, terrible tragedies.
When we went to Africa, we talked with those people that were in the home doing things. I taught them the brat diet. You would thought I had told them the world secret to aging. They have no idea. They're thinking what a difference it makes for all those kids that have diarrhea. They're just giving them more milk. Once I talked about it, they were writing it down. They just don't know. They don't
Yeah,
have
they're just not as educators would think maybe they should be, or that the world is in the 21st century. So public health nurses are what? We have them here in the United States. Oh, and by the way, the CDC does exist worldwide. Did you know that? Yeah. So for instance, the Zika virus. How did we find out about that? How did we connect everything on a worldwide basis? We do have those organizations set up. We do have the WHO and some of the other organizations set up already to communicate that. So So Zika, we didn't have any Zika in the United States for a while. And then we did, so it's a good thing we had heads up and we kind of knew about it before it ever got here. So it would have been a lot worse. So anyway, so public health nurses are really the super sleuths, I like to call them, out in the community that are actually seeing these types of things happen. So what other nurses can use epidemiology in our community to report diseases? So you might have a nurse epidemiologist who works at the public health department. Who else out there in nursing? People you just wouldn't even think about. They're just very common. Who? What other nurses? Pediatric nurses. Yes, they work in a clinic perhaps, or even in the hospital. And these little kids come in with certain diseases and they go, oh, heads up, guess what? RSV is going around again, or whatever. Okay? What other nurses in the community? School nurses. Yeah, they are opportune right there. Anybody else? How about, sorry?
ER nurses.
ER nurses, yes, people that are just coming right in. Yeah, they're all coming. And how about, maybe you haven't thought of this, because you guys are actually hospital-based minded, I think. But in the hospitals, there's also a nurse epidemiologist or a nurse infection control nurse. And that's what they do as well. So for instance, you're on the floor and you notice, oh, there's this TB that has come in. So guess who needs to know about that? Everybody, especially the infection nurse at the hospital. Okay? Okay. So today we're just going to talk about epidemiology and then the surveillance, but we're going to have a little bit of practice for the epi-triangle. So I just don't want to say epidemiologic all the time. So I call it the epi, okay, the epi-triangle. Next week you will have even more practice with it, but today is just kind of superficial to kind of get into it. So what I'd like you to do is divide them into groups of 3 so that each person one person's the agent, one is the host, and one is the environment. And what I want you to do is, I'll go back to that. What I want you to do is group 1, group 2, group 3, take this disease. So you could have as many as 12 groups if you needed to. All right? So go ahead. So Alex, why don't you and is it Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan and Randy. Okay. Yeah. You guys take typhoid fever. That's a good one. Tell us about typhoid Mary. No, I'm just kidding. And then the next 3 will be group 2. All right. Ringworm. Okay. And the next group 3. Measles, 4 valley fever, 5 salmonella. That should be easy. Six last fever. Okay, you only have 5 minutes because we only want to know the agent, the host, and the environment. You don't have to tell us anything else. What did you get?
Tell you what?
Agent, host, and California and Arizona. Yeah. So, one thing that you can do, you guys, is go to the CDC. And maybe you've already found it. But you can go to the CDC right here. And you see in the upper right-hand corner, you can pull this down. And if your disease starts with an F, then you click on the F, and then you find the disease right down here. Okay, and so that's an easy way to find the triangle.
Oh, we're talking about the house.
Okay, we got that?
Wait.
What do you want us to say about these?
Just who is the host? What is the agent?
Okay, the triangle.
And yeah, we're just practicing with the F triangle. This is good practice for next week. Okay? And then the environment. Okay, you guys ready? 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys got it? All right, we're gonna go ahead and start over here. Yeah. All right, so this group right here of three. Okay, everybody, this group has the floor. So what is the disease, and tell us the agent, host, and environment, just that's all you need to say.
We had the plague,
Oh, you had the plague? Okay.
and the host is a oriental rat flea that would harvest both the bacteria and then it would infect humans.
It was a wheat, is that what you said?
Oriental rat flea
Rat.
that would live on rats and then infected humans.
Oh.
It was a flea.
Yes,
That's the host. Okay.
but then it would infect humans.
Mm-hmm. So what would the host be then? Would it be the flea or would it be the
It would be the
human?
Yeah.
It would be the humans. Okay. So what was the agent?
It was the Yersinia.
Yes, which is the flea.
Okay.
And then, or actually and then the environment?
Was in rural areas and middle Europe area. And then it's just anywhere with infected animals, and especially little rodents like rats that have the flea.
Okay. So there had to be a population of those around, right? Okay, but oddly enough, after the plague kind of went through all, these third of a million people in Europe, then it went away for a couple generations. And guess what? Then it came back again. So it resurfaced over several years. So that's kind of weird, right? Okay, thank you. All right, so this group back here,
We did the yellow fever.
okay, yellow fever.
Yeah, and I looked up the infectious agent, and it says a single-stranded RNA virus that belongs to the genus flavivirus. And then who has the host?
I have the host. So humans are a host, but something interesting, it says that they're kind of a dead-end host, and it will actually like complete the life cycle of this one and kind of kill it off, but we still get disease.
Okay, so the host is the humans, okay, and then what's the environment?
It's mainly found in Africa, but anywhere where mosquitoes are most prevalent. So like
That-
still water.
That special kind of mosquito though,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's mainly found in Africa.
Okay, yeah. Okay, next.
Okay, we tried salmonella. Yes, the host is gonna be the human again.
Okay.
And,
So the agent is the salmonella bacteria, and it infects the digestive tract. So an environment that is dirty, that's not clean, then with fecal oral route, it will be transmitted.
So anywhere there's a digestive tract, yeah, okay. You guys?
We did valley fever. The host is a human. It comes from a fungus that's in the soil, and the environment is like Arizona, California, and like Central America and some South America.
So that was the agent and the environment you're saying is the what?
It's like just like the Arizona, like the warm, those places of that.
Okay, so not in Idaho?
No.
Okay. So actually on an e-prep, someone talked about valley fever. Who was that? Okay, thank you. Go ahead and tell us about, you said something about valley fever was pretty common. I mean, honestly, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't super common, but I knew of some people that had it, and the two people that I knew personally that had it were both had like autoimmune diseases. So I don't know if that played into it. But
Where are you from? Sorry.
Arizona.
Arizona.
So
Okay.
yeah, and one of the people I knew actually died from it because they just couldn't fight it off. So,
Really?
Crazy.
Did they have other comorbidities?
Well, they had an autoimmune disease,
Oh,
and that
okay.
makes it like fight it all out. Yeah, they like tell people to wear masks and stuff to go out outdoor work.
And that's in Arizona. Yeah, Alex.
So it causes immune system malfunction. And I don't know much about it, but I do know that death rate's pretty high if you get it. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was
Oh,
It's hard to get rid of.
really?
Just people in.
Well, especially if you already have an autoimmune problem, right?
causes the autoimmune problem.
It's people that are already have.
But she was saying some people already had autoimmune. And what I'm saying is it makes it deteriorate. It makes it worse. But yeah. But like you said, it could cause that in some people that don't already have it as well. Okay, you guys? Other groups? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had ringworm.
Oh, okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah, oh, have you had it?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, tell us about that.
I blame my brother. He had it and he gave it to me. So the agent, it's a fungus.
Okay.
So
And the host can either be a human or an animal, like in most things.
Okay.
And then the environment is just damp areas, so you want to keep your skin clean and dry, and not share things. So clothing, if you were to have it,
Okay.
to clean everything, wash your hands really well after touching animals, maybe that could have it.
Okay, good.
So keeping your socks.
So basically, it's known as,
Being clean, sanitary.
okay, so you can get it from other people, you can get it from vertebrate animals, and what is that called when you can get an illness from a vertebrate animal? So in other words, an animal that has a backbone. What is that called? Zoonosis. I'm just throwing that out. I'm sure you don't, it's not gonna be on Tessie or anything. But all I'm saying is if you see that word, that's what that means. It's like, what? Animals in the zoo? No. No, but that's what it is. Okay, so good. Right, anybody, any other groups?
We had measles
Oh, okay.
until the host. The environment is, well, it's in the nose and throat mucus, and it also said on the CDC website that it can last for 2 hours in the airspace of someone who is cough or sneezes.
Yeah.
And so if you touch or in the airspace of, touch a surface or in the airspace of anyone who's cough or sneezed with this virus, then you could also.
Is BYU-I virus. And mostly it affects people who are not vaccinated or not old enough.
So when, nobody gets that anymore, do they?
There are outbreaks every once in a while.
Okay, yeah. So when was the last one that we know of? Yeah, it was like 2008, and I'm like, because I read that, and I was like, no, no way, it was sooner than that. But it was about 2008 that it started. And then after that, then, you know, some states across the United States had some measles. And why would that happen? They were traveling, yes. Have you ever thought about, oh, wow, next time I'm on an airplane, I'm wearing a mask? No.
I'm from Murrieta, California, and actually has a really big border patrol holding facility there. And when all those kids were coming up from South America, they were all being held there, and they had an outbreak of measles inside that facility with some of the workers and things like that. And they just last summer, so 2 summers ago actually, there was another smaller outbreak of measles at Disneyland again. And they identified it coming from a group of tourists from Thailand.
Yes, yeah, okay. So how can that happen, an outbreak of measles? How can that even happen with all our immunizations? Some people are just not immunizing anymore. They are relying on herd immunity, right? So, okay. So you did this. So the ecologic model and the web of causality. You need to probably be aware of those 2 terms. So the web of causality, you guys could kind of say, oh, it went from the agent, which was in whatever environment, to the host. So is that a web or is that an ecological model? It's actually a web. A web is like linear. You know, it goes this way, it can go that way, but it doesn't have a lot of depth in it, okay? But if it's pertaining to the ecological model, it means that it's probably started with some kind of web, you know, a linear, and then it kind of got, kind of like you were talking about valley fever. Well, oh, by the way, they had an autoimmune disease anyhow. So, and then this and that, you know, so there are other factors that actually affect the spread of that. So it could be maybe economics. They live in a very poor area. They can't afford whatever. They can't afford nutrition. You know, those kinds of things is more of the economic model. Okay? All right, let me go back. Let me see if that'll do it. Oh, it did. Okay, so right here, there's the epidemiology, there's the descriptive and the analytical. We're not going to talk about the analytical, really, because you guys have had research and you talked about other kind of case studies and, you know, the prospective, the retrospective, all those kind of case studies, and that's what that is right there. So that covers the why and the how. But we're going to mostly talk about the descriptive epidemiology, which is the who, what, when, where. So for instance, if a neighbor comes to you, and I know that they probably already have, said, oh, you know, my child is this, and they're having these symptoms, and this is what's happening, so what do you think? I mean, everybody thinks that you're like a nurse already, right? But honestly, you don't have far to go. But anyway, so what is the first thing that you start thinking about when they tell you this? You start thinking in terms of not, oh, we should do a study about that. No, you first start thinking about the descriptive. So who has it? Where have they been? When did they start developing symptoms? You know, those kinds of things. So the epi model is actually has to do more with descriptive to start off. And then when it gets more involved, then you'll get into the analytical. So just know the difference between those 2. Also, you need to know the difference in primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. And the reason I bring this up here, not only did the book, but throughout this whole course, we're going to ask you, okay, what was primary prevention here? What was secondary? What was tertiary? And sometimes people get those 3 levels of prevention kind of mixed up a little bit. So I'm going to go over them right here so that when you can, you know, have more thought, you're reading a case study or whatever, you're thinking, okay, what level of prevention was this? Or could have been practiced, and this would not have happened. So what is primary?
Primary is trying to prevent the disease altogether, whether it's education or what's immunizations. Yeah. Anything that's preventing a disease from happening
Right.
or spreading.
Okay, good. So primary is actually kind of easy, right? Tertiary, let's jump to tertiary. That's actually kind of easy as well. I just want you to know those two concepts. Okay, tertiary is it's like, okay, they've got the disease, they need treated. They need to be treated, they need rehab. So basically, they've got it, and they need medications, they need to be clinically treated. The second one, secondary, is a little bit more vague, you might think. What does that have to do with?
I always think of secondary as you go in and get checkups. So you get like a prostate exam or a mammogram.
Okay.
So it's
So screening.
screening. Yeah.
Okay. So actually screening, key word. But the part that might throw you off is, oh, by the way, they can already have a disease. And what you need to do is help that disease not to spread or to get worse. Okay? So you have to keep that in mind. So that's secondary as well.
So I think it was in the book an example of osteoporosis and them telling them to drink some milk and making sure they have that calcium. Would that be secondary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. All right, so just to kind of go over that with you, and we'll mention that quite a bit in the course. All right, so now I want you to go to, actually, we're not doing very good on time, but let's just do this anyway. All right, so public health department, go to your public health department wherever you're from. So for me, I would go to, I live in Idaho Falls, so that is Bonneville County, where I'm at. And I want you to look on the web about what, let me see here. Hold on. Let's see here. So I pulled this up right here. And you really should become familiar with your public health department wherever you are. After school, you pass the English, you move to California, you move to Illinois, you move to wherever. You should be able to, access this and see what's going on in your area. But I look at this and I think, okay, this is good information, but what does it have to do with epidemiology? So my eyes were kind of drawn to this area right here, and you guys have probably heard a lot about the solar eclipse in August on the 21st of this year coming. It's like, okay, get ready. And we're like, okay, well, how can I make money off of this? And that's what a lot of people in the area are thinking and doing. And some of the city planners, oh my goodness, they're like putting aside acreages for people to put their RVs on and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's a big deal, okay?
The reason why is because we're known as one of the prime sites to see it.
Yes, yeah. In fact, Rexburg is even better than Idaho Falls because you're supposed to be able to see it for 2 minutes and 47 seconds or something. Idaho Falls is a minute, 50-something seconds.
I'm running out my backyard.
Yeah. I know, but you know what? That's against the law. You can't do that. I have a field behind me. I was like, you put your RVs back here, and 10,000 a pop or something. But actually, that's against the law to do that. And you think, why is that against the law? It's my property. Why? What do you think? Why do you think it's regulated?
It's not commercial.
Let's go into this. I'm just going to go into this right here. And it talks about, let's see, major event planning. Okay, all right, you guys. This is what I found.
So this is talking about any major event planning guide, which would be the solar eclipse, right? So sanitation and sewage. These city planners are thinking about that. Are you thinking about that? Did I think about that when I'm saying, oh yeah, you can put your RV back there? Just don't come in my house to use the bathroom. But that is a need of people, right? Where are they gonna eat? How are they gonna eat? How about the garbage? What are they gonna do with that? Do you see what I'm saying? So anytime you have a change in the environment like that, it is going to be a host of, could be infection, could be whatever coming through. So it's talking about meeting all those criteria. Sewage disposal, new additional on-site sewage disposal. So you have to read, and there's a whole list right here. So you have to contact, requires permitting through the Eastern Idaho Public Health Department. And up here, I'm sure it would, drinking water. So they could just buy bottled water, but why, So do you see what I'm saying? Things are not as easy as they seem. Let me see what else. Solid waste, they're worrying about food. And for additional information, call these numbers. So basically, it's like, okay, this is a change coming for our environment. So what's going on with that? Yeah, everybody sees dollar signs up front, but you do have to adhere to the area and so that you can keep disease out. Okay. Okay. So anybody else? Did you Google your public health department where you live? Does it say anything about the solar eclipse? Does it say anything that's interesting about diseases? So maybe you don't have to worry about it, right? Okay. All right. All right, we can either do a case study right now, I'll let you go, or we can do cahoots. That's just a game. Oh, you don't want to do case study? Let's do it. Okay. All right, we'll try the cahoots. All right, so you guys go to Kahoot It. Let me see if I have that. Do you know how to spell it? K-A-H-O-O-T-I-T.
There's also, oh, yes.
Sister Dolly? Yeah. All right, so you can get in teams. No, that's what I was gonna say. It is, and for your groups, just stay in your epi groups. So get your team. Everybody ready? All right. We need a game. It'll give it to you in a second. So everybody got your team names? That. All right. By the way, you have 30 seconds to choose the correct answer. Okay, each team, let's do 30 seconds.
Okay.
Are they from work? Yeah.
All right, I don't know why this is not getting any sound.
Yours is like,
So that means. Are you sure? The most.
Yeah, like 3 days Alright, you guys are 15 days You guys ready? team in here? Okay, your turn. We're good to go. And then it gives you 30 seconds. Here's the question right up here. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
Good job, Rick.
So here's your secondary level. All right, so what happened? Did you get, I mean, like, this is the answer right here. All right. Yeah. Did everybody got right? Yeah. You want to talk about this? Or you want to talk about one of these? We've only got 14 minutes, but yeah. Okay, you're good? Do you have any questions? Talk about your baby. Right, remember, passive is first. You're just reporting. When there's so many cases, something they activate. So we really want to.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, well, they see it both as well. But passive is the very first, it's like every day, oh, there's something called. There's that.
It's just observe observation.
Yeah. Just ordinarily do that. And it's not on weekly basis, by the way, it's not monthly. So get it right into that PC, public department.
I don't take it personally, don't worry.
You guys, pretty good. Minnesota model. Help.
Oh, no, everyone.
Okay, why is it not necessary?
Because it's not on the list.
It's not on the list. Yeah, and it's just bronchitis.
Can we turn down the volume?
So remember, it's already diagnosed.
So it's already diagnosed.
Oh, primary. Oh, it said primary. Oh, that's just for the people that don't have it. So this he used to prevent the spread of bronchitis. Okay. So it's just, so it would be, I'll think about this one. But it should be primary in that, why would it be primary? Hand washing and don't get by, you know, and tissues and all that kind of stuff. Or people that might have germs.
So preventing the spread is not secondary.
No, preventing spread.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So if bronchitis spread to a large number of inmates, describing the outbreak would be called. Right? So, first team. Is this,
That's how many
right,
people.
whoever chose this, yeah.
Yeah,
So why did you?
We thought it was just since it was local to the prison,
Oh, okay.
and it didn't exceed the prison wall, it would be endemic still, instead of epidemic.
Well, yeah, except that normalcy is not having bronchitis at all, right? Yeah. So, that's okay, you're still about 100 ahead. A nurse teaches an asthmatic to recognize asthma triggers. So which one is this? Is that right? Right. Who had a problem with this one? Who had a problem with this one? It's okay? You understand it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Whoa. So why did you record these? Out of these choices, what is why? Okay. Later that year isn't gonna help right now. Okay, and then data for bioterrorist, no. This is not a bioterrorist situation. Ooh. Okay, students become ill when a teacher uses new blackboard markers like I just did today. I'm just kidding. Which occurrence pattern? Occurrence patterns. You know, that's like the point of source point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, So it's common. Would 20 seconds be better than 30 seconds? You guys are so smart.
Well, I don't know, listen, you.
Oh, Miss Watson. Words. All right, there you go. So become sick at the same time in the same duration, okay, of time afterwards. So, yeah, that's the definition of it. She should not, this is worded differently, she should not Okay, you guys done?
Yeah.
Ready? Alright, so do you understand this?
Yeah.
She would not first tell the community. There are other things that she needs to do before notifying the community. Alright, so we probably should let you guys know. This is an important one now. Okay, this will be our last one.
I just want
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So now.
Oh, yeah, and that's
Doesn't matter if you put it in your mile.
okay. You guys get to your next class. Anyway, good job on that.
Hey, you guys, your eat rocks will only do 24 hours, so you don't have to worry about getting them done. Mr. Miller said before, we're still like doing those during their class. So we'll give you 24 hours to finish those, okay? But those eat rocks from class.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because that's like 2 hours after class.
Yeah, we